So the new season of anime has finally gotten into full swing, and although I've already dropped and picked up a few shows, there are definitely a few I will be watching till the very end. Dr. Stone is one such anime. I do admit, I went into the show with some low expectations which have been met quite well so far, but it's a weird show. Like, really weird, and I mean, this season is just filled with some strange ass shows. But even with that, Dr. Stone manages to just be that little bit extra with each episode. So when someone asked me to describe Dr. Stone to them the other day, the best I could come up with was ridiculous. And usually, whenever I use that word, I almost always mean it in a negative connotation. But Dr. Stone is ridiculous in a good way. So let's start with the premise of the show. Basically, it's a bunch of somewhat regular high school students who are then frozen in stone along with the rest of humanity, and birds for some reason. Then, roughly 3,000 years later, a few are miraculously brought back to life through dumb luck. The two main characters are Senku and Taiju, respectively being the brains and the bronze. The show follows Senku as he solves how to rescue everyone through chemistry, and Taiju basically being the heart of the show and Senku's shield. And when I say Senku's shield, I do mean that very literally. The first thing about this show that is just absolutely ridiculous is the characters. Taiju is just dumb. His main personality quirk, besides being even more trusting and loyal than a dog, is that he doesn't fight back. Whenever someone fights him, he just continuously takes the hits until they get bored of fighting him. Yes, that is his actual strategy that he uses to win fights. You also have Senku, who's literally just a mad scientist except with good morals. It's actually a really strange twist because his good morals are often what get him into the most trouble. Very minor spoilers ahead. For instance, when he decides to free Yuzuhara instead of leaving her in her stone form after the whole situation with Tsukasa. It's clear that freeing her at this point is just straight up a bad idea, yet he does it anyway because he knows how much she means to Taiju. And this decision quickly becomes a serious problem in the following episodes. And finally, the most insane character, Tsukasa, the antagonist of the series as of right now. This character went from being a super strong fighter to a genius serial killer quite quickly. How he jumped from the conclusion, "I don't like adults," to "we should just kill them all," is a bit much, but also the fact that his intelligence is near Senku's turns him into a ridiculously overpowered antagonist. I think the fact that he clearly has a strong set of morals and believes he's doing the right things makes him a much more believable character. But, you know, the whole committing genocide thing kind of makes me not want to side with him. All the characters of the show seem to be these extreme caricatures, which kind of makes sense. After all, they were all stuck in stone for 3,000 years with nothing but their minds. Oh yeah, and if they lost consciousness, it's heavily inferred that they died. Wait, now that I think about it, how is Yuzuhara not more messed up? And now I kinda get Tsukasa a bit more. These three characters put together make the plotline feel almost like Death Note, where each character is trying to be 3 to 4 steps ahead of the others, then they all read into each other's plans and then jump in front of each other and screw each other up. I think my favorite would have to be the two most recent episodes where the three characters have to flee from Tsukasa. So they destroyed their fort in an attempt to make it look like they fled out of fear, since they don't want Tsukasa to figure out that they are fleeing in order to create gunpowder. Yet, Tsukasa enters the ruins of the camps, instantly deduces that it's a deception, and from the direction he predicts, and solves that they are fleeing to create gunpowder. And Jesus, this guy just leaps from conclusion to conclusion. Not to mention, there's this whole ex machina scene that happens in the most recent episode, but I'm not gonna spoil that one because it is pretty clever when you really think about it. So I've pretty thoroughly described the plot and characters so far, and you may be thinking to yourself, why would I watch something like that? Something that is so over the top and ridiculous. Well, to be honest, the reason why is because they play it straight. They really lean into this over the top world and characters. Every character introduced is over the top and eccentric in some way. Every plot point is turned up to 11. All of the characters' acting and reactions are completely over the top. The show knows what it is and lives up to it, making the world surprisingly believable. I have to admit, I thought the overall premise of the show was stupid when I first heard about it, but I've been so enthralled by the insane performances of the show that I've been completely brought into their world. It's believable because it's consistent with how it handles things, even if the consistency comes from being just plain ridiculous. It's hard to find shows with immersive worlds in modern anime. A lot of them feel hard to relate to or cliché. Yet instead of trying to build this in-depth, nuanced world that pulls you in through some creative magic system or dystopian government, Dr. Stone immerses you into this seemingly unbelievable world by making everything else about the show just that much more unbelievable. Dr. Stone is ridiculous, but in a good way. Thank you guys so much for watching, and sorry for not uploading last week. I was out of town. A huge thank you to my patrons. You guys are my heroes. Speaking of which, if you want to see how I edit, join our exclusive Discord, or simply support our channel, feel free to join me on Patreon. Make sure you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Manime Matt. Make sure you guys stay man and go watch that goddamned anime.